Hello and welcome to Our Time. If you have a disability, where do you find out what is available to assist you and improve your life experience? Well, Carol Lindner from the Catalyst Foundation is here with us to talk about the Free Disability Ageing and Lifestyle Expo. And later in the show, our special guest will be Rachael Leahcar. But first, hello Carol.
Hello Malcolm, how are you?
I want to burst into the song Carol.
Oh, Carol.
So, Carol, we've got to stop meeting like this. You were here last year and we actually talked about this event last year.
Yes.
Because it is a very special event and it's expanded this year, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Very excited to tell you about that. Yeah, last year we had about 3,500 people come through our event and some of the feedback that we received was that we were perhaps missing some people that would like to come along to the expo. So we've created a 2-day event this year. So we've got Friday the 28th of October and Saturday the 29th of October. So if we've got school kids that can come during the day on the Friday or social groups or anything like that, they can come again with families, with their advocates, with their carers on the Saturday as well.
Right, and that's what's important about this expo. First of all, it's free to the public.
Absolutely.
And if you do have any form of disability, and in a funny sort of way, even if you don't, there's so much to see and so much to do and a whole lot of entertainment. But let's talk about what's different this time.
My Life Choices Expo this year, as we said, 2 days this year, so that we can make sure that all South Australians have the opportunity to attend if they would like to. Some of the changes that we've made from last year is we've found that we've got something like 220 exhibitors coming this year, 220 plus exhibitors coming this year. So that's a lot to come and see. So now you've got the opportunity to see that over 2 days. But also, exhibitors do an amazing job of presenting their stalls, and it's a really vibrant place to be in the pavilion. But we also found that there might be a little bit more that we can offer people. So we've got some activation zones this year. We've got the danceability stage that we'll talk a little bit about later on. But we've also got activation zones. So we've got quite a few different ones. You'll get the welcome zone as you come in, where you collect your show bag. One of the things that people will know if they've been to the event before is that there's lots to collect at these events. There's lots of not only information, but there's all sorts of goodies that you can collect along the way. So,
well, the information, of course, is the reason it's there.
The most important.
Because the reality is, if you have a disability, not everyone's born with a disability. This can happen as you go through life, an accident or all sorts of things.
Absolutely.
And it must be so challenging to sort of understand, well, what assistance can I get? And it's everything, isn't it? It's basically everything.
That's what's really unique about this. It's bringing all of those people together. So it's a one place so that you can come and connect yourself with services, with information, with products, to be able to make, find the opportunities that are available and make choices for your life. So yeah, it's a really important event.
Actually, it's crazy, isn't it, when you think about it, that as we've learnt so much about things, aids that can help us through life, whether it be, well, Rachel's coming later and she has a dog, and without the dog it would be difficult for her to see or to feel safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's sort of a minor thing if you've got major like limbs missing or if you've got other sight or hearing problems, or what other issues can we see or can be assisted?
So many issues. I was thinking back to
where
the
do you
activation.
start, isn't it, really?
Well, activation zones, thinking about those things, everything's about inclusion. So one of the activation zones that we have this year is inclusive sports. So you can come along and see powered chaired sports, basketball,
I never even thought of
soccer.
that. Right.
There's all sorts of, there's a sport called pickleball, which I had to Google to find out what it was, but it's actually like we used to call like your little paddle tennis. So there's all sorts of...
They can hear, the players can hear isn't that amazing?
So that's one of the things that you'll be able to see. So, you can go and actually see others playing those sports, or you might have the opportunity to give it a try if you would like to. But also then there's all the organisations, so you can go and talk to those organisations. If you've got someone that you know, it might be yourself or someone that you know that might like to be involved, you can go and get that information so you can join in.
Someone who may not be able to attend, of course.
That's exactly right. One of the other amazing things that we've got this year
they may not be able to attend because they haven't found those things
yet.
No,
that's right,
And that's a reality too, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because really, I suppose GPs can sort of put you in the right direction, or specialists if you're seeing a specialist, but if they don't have the information, because they can't know everything either.
No, and it's complex. There's lots of complexities to that. So having all of these things in the same place at the same time is a fantastic way to be able to see all the different things that are out there, things that you might not have even been aware of.
Is there a new inventions section?
Oh, there's an assistive sensory technology section. That's
Too many
another
words.
activation zone. Well, there, I believe, you're going to be able to see the most up-to-date high technology that is available to support people. So that's another one of the activation zones. We've got another sensory zone as well. So if you find going to the expo, sometimes it could be overwhelming if it's really noisy or something like that.
Yes.
You can go into that space, have a bit of a quiet time, have a bit of a
I was
chill.
going to ask you about that, yes.
Very important for people that would like to participate and go to this expo, so I think that's amazing. We've also got some artists that are going to tell, so artists living with disability who paint their stories. I think we've got something like 30 to 40 art pieces that are going to be on display, so that's
brilliant.
another really exciting piece.
Brilliant.
I think probably one of the most exciting activation zones that you're going to see this year, we've got an 8-metre rock wall climb. Yes, and it is the purpose of it being there is to give people living with disability an opportunity to be able to maybe experience something they've never done before. So it's a hydraulic operated rock wall. Very exciting, very, very exciting. And as you said, sharing ideas with other
I think
people.
at my age, I like the idea of the hydraulic. So I can get up to the top.
Just quietly, I might give it a little go myself, I think. Might be the only thing that would get me to the top too.
I love it.
Something that's exciting about that too, you were saying, how do you get these ideas? How do you know more about it? So this year we've put in a lot of extra audio visual and the ability to live stream. So camera at the top of the rock wall can be seen from the other side of the pavilion.
Right.
So someone who may not have got that far to see that might sort of think, wow, that's
Right,
something
what a good
exciting. Or the
idea.
stage.
Yeah.
Also, it's an opportunity for organisations to live stream back to their website. So maybe you can't make it to the expo, but you can actually see what's available. So you might be able to see the inclusive sports in action and think that's something I'd like to pursue in time to come when you can. So yes, we've got some
amazing.
really exciting things happening.
Well, I must admit, full disclosure, I do know a little bit about this because last year I hosted from the stage, and
Yes.
we'll talk to Rachael about that because she was performing also last year.
Absolutely.
But that was good too because it gave a lot of performers an opportunity to really show what they could do.
Yeah.
And again, we tend to think of there's a couple of dance groups, but I know you've got a whole lot more, so we will talk about that in a little while. So, first of all, we need to know where it is.
Yes, Adelaide Showgrounds in the Jubilee Pavilion.
That's often known as the
I don't know what it's known as actually.
Jubilee Pavilion.
Oh, it was,
That's what
yeah.
it's known
I was going to
as.
say the
I
Jubilee.
just realised that
you
myself
tricked me.
because it wasn't there last year because in the Goiter Pavilion was where you could go and get a COVID shot.
Yes, absolutely. So, and this is actually a bigger space this
It
year.
is a bigger space.
Because we have more exhibitors.
Yes.
But also we've got these activation zones, and we like to keep it so that it's nice and free and easy. People can move around really easily and
Yes,
have time
you
to
can.
sit and relax if they need to and things like that. So, yeah, so the 28th and the 29th
So there
of
are
October.
places to just sit and relax?
Absolutely. There's food
So
available.
here's a
and-
poster that sort of says it all.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to find your way around in it. It is really simple and it's really clear once people come in where everything is. You just have a really interesting day and it's such an informative day as well. And really it's a thing that people need, isn't it?
Yes. As for finding things, I would love to tell you about another addition this year. We have an interactive floor plan. So there will be a QR code which you scan, which brings up the entire floor plan of the event. And for example, you might want to find out about a certain product. So you can use a search tool to search that product,
So-
or you might be looking for
Like where those
assistive
stands will
equipment.
be in the-
and it just
in the building.
highlights those particular things. So it gives you another way of navigating. We also have a pull-out app. What do you call it? Pull out from the magazine. So we're in Linked magazine,
Right.
and we're in the seniors paper. So we've got
Right.
the program guide is what I was trying to come to there.
Right.
So they will be published in October. So people can actually get those
Well,
prior
now.
to the
It'll be
event.
now.
That's right. And they can use the QR code. They can plan their journey before they go. With so much to see, it's probably a good idea to actually think about that.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be back in just a moment. We've got Rachael Leahcar and a very special guest with Rachael, and we'll be chatting with her about what's happening with her and what she's doing there on the day as well. We're back in a tick. And welcome back. Our special guest is Carol and the lovely Rachael Leahcar.
That's me.
It is. You must be I reckon you've been on the show at least 6 times over 12 years.
Yeah.
Is 2 years apart too much?
Not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough, I say.
Okay. Now, last time you were here, your lovely little dog was called Ella, and Ella's now gone into retirement.
That's right, yep.
Did she go to a home of retirement, or
No,
she just went home?
They generally try to keep them with the handlers they've been brought up with if I can. If I'm not at work 8 hours a day, then, she can stay with me. So I'm just pretty much studying at home these days, or with the occasional gig. So,
But now, your new dog is called?
Jarvis. And
So
he's
Jarvis is a boy?
Complete opposite to Ella. So Ella was a golden retriever girl.
Yes,
and he's
he
a
is.
black Labrador boy. So a big learning curve, but he's beautiful as well.
How important is it for you to have a dog? What's the name of the dogs now? What do they call them?
Guide dogs.
Guide dogs.
Yeah.
I
or
wondered if there was
dogs or.
Yeah, well,
as long as you don't say blind dogs,
because they wouldn't know where to go.
It'd be just teamwork, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly.
Good knows.
No, but these days it's sometimes hard to know what to call.
Yeah.
Something like, is it a seeing eye dog, or is it a guide dog, or is it what is it?
I get people ask me, because there are so many different types of dogs as well, and so many different types of assistance animals as well. There's horse therapy, and people have had chickens in classrooms for
really?
people. Yeah, there's all sorts these days. It's amazing what animals can do.
Well, they do it all for themselves, and if they can do it and we can't, I guess that's the other alternative.
Yeah, well, they're such a good source of healing as well.
True. How important is it for you to have somebody like Jarvis?
Well, he's my left hip now. I feel so unsteady if I go out with a cane now. It's just not the same. He guides me to steps and doors and curbs. He's my eyes, so I wouldn't be able to do life without him.
Well, see, that's what's so interesting, because, Carol, is there a reflection of these animals or animals as part of the expo?
Absolutely. We have some exhibitors coming in. We've got the Royal Society for Blind coming in as well. So, yeah. And they're actually going to be doing some time on stage talking too, giving us some examples of how the animals can actually support employment, counselling, all sorts of different bits and pieces. So, yeah.
Yes, because we've all sort of grown up. But one of the things I should mention, the expo isn't just for disabled, it's also for people my age and beyond, isn't it?
Yeah, the ageing community and people living with disability, yes.
Yeah.
So it's called the DAO Expo, Disability, Ageing and Lifestyle Expo.
Right. Well, it's not funny, actually, about ageing, as I'm going through it, as we all will eventually, but you start to realise there are things you can't do anymore and you need assistance for. Rachael, for you must have gone through a time when you were younger when you could see better.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that we all go through, I guess, either as we get older or if we develop a disability. I have a degenerative eye condition, so when I was little I didn't realise that I was any different from anyone. I could do most things but just needed a few adaptations. But then as I got older and my sight deteriorated, I'm like, oh, I need a bit more help. And it took me a long time to even accept any help. I was very determined to do everything myself. But when I did finally accept help and I got a cane and a guide dogs, my life just changed dramatically for the better. And I would encourage everyone to seek help for, don't just accept that you can't do something, find a way to do it. And this expo is a great way to find ways to do the things that you love, like sports. What you were talking about earlier.
Inclusive sports, yeah.
There's blind tennis and there's tandem bike riding. I hadn't ridden a bike in, 10 years. And
really?
then I went on
I never even thought of that. What a great idea.
And I missed it so much and finally went on a tandem bike and I was crying the whole way. So just some amazing things like that to give you a positive life experience.
Yeah, see, there's simple things for people that it can sort of do everything, but I've never even thought of riding a bike. And of course, riding it with somebody that can see where they're going, or have the legs or
It's
arms
kinda
to hold
helpful.
on, or whatever it is that, you know, that you might be missing.
It's making things possible, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess really that's it, isn't it? Making things possible. That should be your lead line into it, making things possible. So, Rachel, you're going to be performing on the 2 days.
Yes,
What
I
are you
am.
doing? Tell us what you're doing.
I'm going to be singing, so I've got a set
Well, I
list of-
thought you'd be tap dancing at least.
I mean, they've already got that covered, I think. They've got the tap liners doing some tap dancing. So,
Yeah.
no, I will leave that to all the very talented dancers that are going to be there, like with all abilities, cheer and danceability and the tap dancing. There's so many amazing things. Even an acting
Yes, that's
theatre
no
group.
strings attached,
Yes,
isn't it?
I've been doing my placement with them. So
Right.
I know it's such a great culture of inclusion and respect, and they have so much joy. You can just see it. It's the highlight of their week, coming to these workshops every week, and you feel so entertained just watching them, and you feel the joy emanating from them. So
I mean, well, you just said something really interesting, watching them, because obviously you won't see that much of them.
Yeah,
so
true.
when you say you feel the joy, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, that's it. And hopefully you'll feel that coming from me when I'm singing as well.
Well, it's
I
the
love
other
it.
senses that suddenly sort of take over, isn't it?
Yeah.
But with the
absolutely.
assistance, the other senses can take over. How much can you see now?
I'd say it's probably about 5%. So
Right.
I have the tunnel vision. For those that don't know, it's sort of like that with binoculars, and what I can see is blurry, and I don't see anything at night time because I have night blindness. So
But you can use a computer, can't you?
yeah, I have modifications on the computer so I can see it a bit easier. I use white writing on a black background so it doesn't have as much
Oh,
glare.
right. Yep.
And you zoom in and yeah.
So it's even
getting a
knowing
little bit
those
harder,
things
though.
or converting your computer to do those things, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah. You have to have some help, you know, every now and then.
Did you? Are there other things that would assist you that you maybe don't know about as yet?
Absolutely. There's always new things coming out, new technology. There's some glasses that I really want to check out that have a camera on them, and you put them on and it's got a little microphone in the arm of it, and you take a picture of things and it reads it straight into your ear, and you can even
How
program
extraordinary.
people's faces in it, so you can scan a cafe and, oh, there's your friend. You go over and sit with them. So, yeah, we'd love to check that out. And
So
very clever.
So obviously that's another thing for you that must be difficult, knowing what people look like. I guess I remember when I was young, people that had difficulty seeing would come up and touch people's faces so that they had a concept of what they look like.
can't do that with COVID now.
No, but that's the thing. Life has changed in ways that we haven't sort of compensated for, but obviously now there are new ways, or like you said, the glasses, for example, that sort of almost do that for you, I suppose.
Yeah, incredible.
So I hope when you look at me, it says young and handsome.
I can't see pimples or wrinkles, so
I don't have pimples.
Everyone's very attractive.
I might say I do have wrinkles. Is there something in the expo for old people with wrinkles?
I'm sure that there will be. I will be heading
Counts as a
straight to that
disability.
stall as well.
As will everyone.
Straight to that
I
stall.
suspect.
It is interesting though, assistive technology these days, technology is huge, whether you are in the ageing community or living with a disability. There's so many new things out there, and this is an opportunity to see some of them. So yeah, so it's a fantastic opportunity.
So when we're talking about there is entertainment more or less going almost all day long.
Yes.
You can sit down in front of the stage area and just relax, or maybe have a cup of coffee or something if that's what you want to do. And there's a turnover of things happening on the stage virtually all the time. But there's also some quiet times.
Absolutely. We've responded to some suggestions from last year from the public, and one of the things that we've put in place this year is a quiet time between 3 and 4 o'clock every day on the Friday and Saturday. Yeah, it's
I
really
say you
important.
have to tie me up because, like I said before, last year I compared, and I'm doing the same this year, so I'm looking forward to it.
You'll still be busy, but there won't be a lot of noise. So what we're doing is making sure that anyone who
Tap
may
dance
have
with slippers on. That's what we need.
That won't be happening between 3. Well, I actually hadn't thought about that. We'll have to program that in. But just for anyone that might have some sort of sensory sensitivity, who may perhaps not go to an event like that because it doesn't suit them, it's overwhelming. And we're going to have a quiet time between 3 and 4 each day. And we've got a couple of pretty cool things organised. So, for example, the stage has got the silent disco that's going to be happening. So we'll aim to have make sure that the environment's really quiet and low-key.
Silent, I keep hearing this expression. Do you wear earphones or something?
Yes, you do.
So it's not really silent, it's just silent to people watching. So you see people doing...
And you're going to get my playlist, which is going to be extraordinarily good. Kidding, I'll leave someone else in charge of that for sure. No, we've got that. And things like the sports, they're going to use a sponge ball so it's quiet. And it's just giving opportunity to people so they can have a
that's
time
really
to
interesting.
do that.
Look, we're going to take a short break and we'll come back and talk about that in just a moment, because I'm fascinated to know about the sports where you can't see the things but you can hear the things and you don't miss them, hopefully. We'll be back in a tick. And welcome back to Our Time. Our guests are Carol Lindner and Rachael Leahcar, and we're talking about a very special expo called
My Life Choices, the Disability, Ageing and Lifestyle Expo. I've said that a million times and I can't get it out right.
Well, no. So in a way you've got the representation of exactly what it's about. Rachael and me.
All in one. Perfect example.
It is. Just tell us a little bit more about your dog. How do you look after the dog? How do you know? Not everybody understands that when the harness is on, don't touch the dog. Just talk about that.
Yeah, that's right. So we have about 2.5 weeks of intensive training, 9 to 5 every weekday, to learn how to take care of...
Yes, we're talking about you. He's in a close-up now, Rachael, and he looked up. Now, I've gone shy suddenly.
Well, they cost about $40,000 to raise and train these dogs, and we have our intensive training and we learn how to groom them, how to toilet them, and 1 week is just purely dedicated to working with them on the lead, and then another week...
Yes, it's you we're talking about.
You're working mode. So when they have the harness on, it's kind of like a work uniform. So everyone has a specific way they need to behave at work, and then when you take the
dog
harness
understands
off,
that.
Yep, they're very smart. So we tell people not to talk to or pat them while they're working because that will distract them, and I might get led into, I don't know, down a flight of stairs or into traffic or anything.
Yes.
So I've had people that come up to me and they say, oh, isn't that a bit cruel? They never get to run around. And don't worry, he gets a lot of love and he gets to run at the park like any other dog.
I saw Ella once with your brother and they were rolling around on the floor together, wrestling on the floor. I thought, no, that dog is having fun.
Well, the only difference is I get to take my dog everywhere with me, so I'm very lucky.
Yes. Well,
beautiful dog.
Last time you were on the show, actually, we were talking about the fact that there was a Uber driver that didn't let you take the dog on. People are now starting...
issue.
Yeah, well, are they better? Are people better now to understand how important the dog is in your life?
Slowly progressing, I think. The more education we get out there about it, then the better it'll get.
Well, I guess that's why something like this expo is so valuable. And again, although we've sort of talked a lot more about people with disabilities, ageing is also extremely important to understand what's available. I was with a friend earlier today and he's definitely needing assistance, and it's knowing what assistance is available. And it is hard to find out because you can go through a sort of a government track, if you like, but it's slow.
Absolutely.
And if you can sort of bypass that, and an expo like this really can do that for you.
I suppose what this does, any planning that you can do prior to ageing or while you're ageing, to prepare ahead is the best thing that you can possibly do. So whether you think you don't need anything now, planning ahead, you know, understanding what an advanced care directive is versus all the way down to understanding what sort of assistive technology is available,
Sure.
what equipment might be available. You might be caring for someone in your family. It might be your parent or someone elderly in your family that you might want to help support and navigate
it's
the system.
also understanding how the technology works now, so
Yes.
that as you age, you will go with the technology because you've got the understanding.
Even just
Girls-
understanding how to navigate things like My Aged Care and having the digital
Well,
literacy to be able to do
perfect.
that. That's the sort
Yes,
of thing that
perfect.
people can find some information about that at the expo.
So thank you, Carol. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
And so until we see you next time on Our Time, do keep yourself nice till then, and remember this expo is a great way to find out about what could be your future or somebody close to you. So until next time, keep yourself nice till then. Thanks, girls.
Thank you.
Thank you.